So a Mensah is like a surname?
No. Some people adopt it as surname.
As a surname, yes. So it's the third name.
The real meaning is the third boy in succession.
Ooh, today I've learned something.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, Doc, we're going to be looking quickly at holistic solutions. Yes. And before we do that, yes, let's actually look at the post-elections we just went about a couple of months ago, yes, 7th of December.
Yes.
Prior to the 7th December, and when you look at the expense, money spent for the elections, yes, from the incumbent, yes, and then when you look at the lackluster expenditure from the opposition, yes, everybody was thinking probably the incumbent was going to break the 8. Yes. And then we had a knockout blow with an uppercut. Yes. And this was it. What do you think made that verdict, eventual verdict, come up for?
No, that's a very good question. You know, what I'll say first and foremost is these people couldn't break the 8 because God was on the side of Ghana. Ghana was bleeding profusely. The level of corruption was too bad. And they had money in their polytanks, money. You know, all this money that came during the COVID, money. Just yesterday I was listening to something on social media, and somebody from the United States went to Ghana and said that he was going to help the NPP raise funds. And from the state funds, they had to give this guy $5 million, you know, for him to raise funds for the then government, the Akufo-Addo government. And this this guy eventually turned out to be a fraudulent guy, because the current foreign minister, Honorable Sam Okudzeto-Ablakwa, went all the way to Missouri to trace this guy down and take over. And he saw the guy serving coffee in the shop somewhere. And when he confronted him, the guy confessed and said, oh, he took the money, but he couldn't do it.
Oh, dear. Yeah,
that's a huge financial loss to the state.
Wow.
And Akufo-Addo and his cohorts should be made to refund that money to Ghana.
Wow.
You know,
okay.
The situation was so bad. So it was Ghana who came to the rescue. It was God who came to the rescue of Ghana on the 7th of December, 2024.
Wow. So basically, with the guy who is supposed to raise the funds, 5 million,
yes,
that's an interesting one.
Yes.
I remember way back when we used to have our political dialogue, yes, on the Afrique Radio, yes, FM. Those days, I remember something came up regarding when President Kufuor, ex-President Kufuor, was in power.
Yes.
There was a loan that we had that was actually sourced from Hammersmith, yes, in London, from at the barber shop, hairdresser shop.
Hairdresser salon.
Yes. So if my memory serves me right, yes, I mean, I'm trying to relate it to this.
Almost identical.
Oh, wow.
Almost identical. And who suffers? It's Mother Ghana that suffers.
Okay.
Which is a very bad news for Ghanaians.
Okay, so we need to be really, so the oral, we're going to be going to the oral later on. So these are some of the monies, yes, the orals should be investigating, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oral should be investigating that money. I hope I'm not jumping the gun, because there are monies that came during the COVID. Yeah. You know, world bodies gave Ghana monies. Yeah. How were those monies dispensed of? Yeah. There were no records or accounts showing how the monies were used by the Akufo-Addo government. You know, and then I was telling, is it Mr. Mainu, who was the health minister some time ago? And when he was ordering COVID vaccines from Russia, the Russians gave us another price, but he gave the Ghanaians $5 more than the cost price. Why? Why do you treat fellow Ghanaians like that? Why do you do that? Yeah, they should be made to refund all those monies to Ghana. And also, you know, I used to travel during the COVID a lot, and I used to pay $50 because I have a Ghanaian passport. When I reach the airport, It wasn't a Ghanaian who was in charge of that project, or the owner of the company that was collecting the money. It was a Nigerian. A Nigerian who was related to Nana Akufo-Addo's daughter's boyfriend or something. Why do you take Ghana as a company football to play left, right, center without anything in favor of the country? It's wrong.
So the COVID levy and also the COVID airport
tax and all those. Up to now, nobody has accounted for them.
Wow, that's a serious one. Okay, so you from what you are saying, it means that Ghanaians saw through that.
Ghanaians saw through that, Philly, because don't forget, even the Makola market woman now is very, very, very politically savvy.
Yes,
you know, they understand politics. They all have mobile phones in their country, in their clubs, and don't forget, most of them went at least to JSS, so they can read from social media. So none of them is oblivious to what is happening in Ghana, or what was happening in Ghana during the horrible Akufo-Addo government.
Wow. Okay, so the elections came and that devastating knockout blow, and of course the uppercuts, and then we had the inauguration.
Yes.
Okay. Listeners, I'm speaking to Dr. AKWETEY, and indeed our learned lecturer, and of course he's also a man of God as well.
Yes.
So we are so grateful to have such a mind with excellent should I say, expertise on the subject matter we are discussing today. Now let's go straight to the inauguration.
Yes.
So we've looked at the post-elections, and then we've looked at the pre-election, the election day. We are now looking at the post-election.
Yes.
Come the inauguration,
yes.
And then there was a surprise, the attendance of Burkinabe president.
He stole the show.
Virtually. He had the biggest
applause. Yes. I was in Ghana. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a ticket to go to Black Star Square.
Right.
But I watched it on TV, and I watched everything.
I called you when you were in Ghana. You remember?
Okay, yes, you did. Yes. I was in Ghana for the inauguration, but I enjoyed every bit of it.
That's great. Yes. That's great. Okay, so you being an expert when it comes to finance and economic things, do you think the attendance and surprise appearance of the Burkinabe president Ibrahim Traore at the inauguration is sending a message to the rest of the world, or what's your take on that?
The presence of the Burkinabe ruler brought a lot of vim and energy into the inauguration.
Right.
It also played very well into the hands of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. Why is that so? Before the inauguration, the president took it upon himself as a humble servant to visit some of the head of states that were our neighbors.
Yeah.
And the Burkinabe leader was one of them. And the guy was so honored that President Mahama came to at least visit him.
Yeah.
Prior to that, you remember that horrible spectacle in Washington when Akufo-Addo and his foreign team went to meet Anthony Blinken. Not even the American president.
Yes.
Our president going to meet a foreign minister to go and complain about our neighboring country. Oh, I wouldn't say more of that because on social media, Akufo-Addo had a blocking on that. People really gave it to him. So I'll stop there. I wouldn't continue from there. It was rubbish. It was humility to the lowest level.
I am also from a Pan-African stance, and as a floating voter, think that Burkinabe's visit was a message to the rest of the international community, including the West, to say that, look, the reset, and with the Burkinabe president coming to the soil of Ghana, means that Mahama means business. That is what my take was. Because in his speech on that day, I picked up a couple of statements or sentences which he said, that the biggest economies, the G7s, have economies has been dwindling.
Yes.
And as it speaks,
Yes.
they are under even 30%
Yes.
of the global market force. You know,
Yes.
so I read into it, and that's when I said, no, Mahama is different.
Yes.
Even if it's not different,
Yes.
it's coming with a civil revolution mindset,
Yes.
and it means a reset.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
when I
Yes.
said to myself that no,
Yes.
this guy might
Yes.
surprise all of us.
You know, to
Yes.
me, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama is a visionary.
Yes.
He can see well in advance of things, you know. The Burkinabe guy, he is transforming Burkina Faso as we speak.
Yeah.
Now, he has set up 2 tomato factories. He has set up, he has augmented the type of agricultural production in the country.
Yeah.
And he has done so many things that I can list over here.
Yeah.
Now, President Mahama mentioned last time that he wants Ghana to be a manufacturing country and export-led country.
Wow.
Now, you can only export when you manufacture.
Yeah.
And that is my specialty. That is what I did at my PhD, investment attraction and trade promotion in economic development.
Right.
You know?
I think I have one of your books.
Yes.
Did you write something
yes,
on it?
Yes.
Yeah, I have one of
That's
your
the title of the book.
The
green
book, yeah.
one. Yes,
I read it, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
If you don't invest, you can't get investors into your country.
Right.
Of course, you have to create the enabling environment, which I have no doubt that President Mahama is going to do.
Right.
During the Akufo-Addo government, nobody wanted to come and invest in Ghana.
Right.
The corruption level was too high. And everybody in the West knew about Ghana's corruption.
Right.
Now, having said about the Burkinabe leaving the West, asking the French soldiers to go, and let me tell you about what happened in Niger.
Okay.
When Niger took over, you know, Niger is one of the 3 Sahelian countries who have gone completely African.
Yeah.
You know, Kwame Nkrumah said some time ago that the African is capable of managing their own affairs.
Yeah.
And I think these 3 people are trying to demonstrate the practicality of that, you know, to the best level that they can do, you know. Now, these 3 people have left those people. The West, for example, they have, like you said, they have started crumbling. You know what they call the BRICS countries?
Yeah, the BRICS. Yeah.
The BRICS countries are fast forming another bloc. Yeah. Another bloc to create or to form an alternative to all that everybody is looking from the West. Yeah. And they are coming, they are going to offer this without any preconditions, you know, and everybody is looking towards them, you know. Right. So the West is panicking. Right. The West is panicking. Look, listen, the guy who has just gone to the White House, Trump, said that he was slapping tariffs on all these countries. And some countries were panicking. Yes. But the Great People's Republic of China didn't panic. They waited. They didn't even negotiate with him with anything. And indeed, they slapped them with the tariffs. 10% of tariffs. China retaliated with 15%. Yes, I read it. And it retaliated with other things that America always exposed to China. Now, Trump called the Chinese president more than twice. The man didn't pick. What did he want to do? He wants to go back and tell, because it is going to damage the American economy.
Because when you look at the West, most of their manufacturing and companies have all been relocated in China for cheap labor.
Thank you.
They were looking for
cheap labor, and the work ethics in China is huge.
And then now they realize that no, we need our manufacturing base again. You can't do it overnight.
No, you can't do it. You can't do it.
Okay,
can't do it.
So you could see how we're analyzing the economic data. We are mixing it up nicely. Okay, so the Burkina Faso guy and President Mahama's speech led us to this bit. But I'm sure most of our the points we're going to be raising will bring back these BRICS and other things because they are sometimes intertwined and all that. Great. Okay, so the president then resumed power. Yes. And then we had all this hula baloo at the vetting. And that's so sad. why do you think Afenyo Makin and Anodom Press, micro minority, people call them, are trying to create chaos for President Mahama to this?
First of all, from my
perspective,
from my observation from my small corner, I think we have beaten them so bad, so they have lost their senses. We beat them so bad, they never expected it. You know, one of their former general secretary said, even if 2 million people who didn't vote had voted, the NPP would have got only 20%. The 38%, we dashed them. You know, if they die again in 2028, they will get less than that. Because now, why are they behaving like that? Because we beat them too badly. And there was no way, because before the election, the way Afenyo Makin was throwing his weight about, when about 4 of the parliamentarians then went independent. You know, of course, when they were no more belonging to any party, then NDC could have assumed the majority. He was throwing his weight about and everything and said, oh, we'll see after the election. And the election gave him a blow, a big blow, and it has confused them.
That must be a Mike Tyson
uppercut. Mike Tyson uppercut. And somebody, I'm not done prayer, I don't know, this is the first time I've been hearing of him. But before somebody wrote on social media, not me saying that I heard, he said, I'm not done prayer, should stop smoking weed.
Oh dear.
You know, he should stop smoking weed. Because his behavior is totally unreasonable.
Very, very
you know, and I abhor the fact that some of these people are called honorable. They don't deserve that honorable title. They are dishonorable. Dishonorable. It was a very horrible scene. Very horrible scene. And yet some of them are standing to defend what they did. You know, what they did in Parliament. You know, in the British Parliament, you and I always say, there they but nobody disgrace anybody. Imagine somebody shouting at Senator Rawlings. This is some kind of unpalatable saying. It was terrible. And these people call themselves honorable people.
So, Doc, why don't they resign and that seat can become we have a by-election? Because that is the only way people will start to behave.
Yes. I think there are some standing orders. I'm not an expert in that, but I think it's not in the hands of the president
But you see, what I think, if it is this country, I've seen members of parliament or even ministers say something somewhere or make...
and they are suspended.
They are suspended, or even they resign. And, you know, and some of their seats, they resign and then we go for a by-election. Why can't Africans... that discipline be brought into...
I think it has to. You are right. They have to, because those 4 suspended, people came and said, "Oh, the standing orders of Parliament do not allow the Speaker to suspend people." If he misbehaves, what do you think the Speaker should do?
Should be disciplined.
Even they should be disciplined.
Ordinary committees, local levels. You know, or even if you belong to a small society, let's say in your community, there are chairmen and there are officers where if there is indiscipline, people are disciplined. How much more that higher level?
And one thing I've noticed there, some of the people are not learned, I'm afraid. They are not learned, they just force things. You know why I'm saying this? I overheard somebody saying that, Mahama has been elected president to rule the country. Why doesn't he continue to rule the country and he starts forming committees here, committees here?
They're all right.
And this guy, if he had gone to university and studied public administration or central government administration, he would have learned something they call committee governing by committees, you know, which is a big topic by itself. From there, you derive a lot of ideas that will guide you in as to what step to take. You know, he was just talking and bloating. He didn't understand what he was saying. You know?
Wow. Now, we're coming, listeners, I tell you, we are going to have series of shows and segments with Dr. AKWETEY, so don't worry at all. There's a test in the waters, you know, more to come. Yes, he's got a lot in him. And you know what? We need to tap in before probably he leaves us. So I'm saying it because these positions that are coming, before you know, Dr. AKWETEY has been held over to go and hold some serious position. And so let's grab everything from him before, you know, maybe his expertise will land him a different job somewhere. Okay, so Doc, another point I wanted to raise as we are building gradually. Of course, the whole governance, economy, politics, we cannot finish it all, you know, so we go step by step. Let's move into the uproar of, no, I would say it's even an uproar. I would say the perambulating and the tantrums being thrown by the so-called minority about the President Mahama using the brothers' aircraft. What is your view on that? Because all this is just within this. The president is not even a month. It's just a month in office and a couple of days. And they're just trying to run the president down. The president that used his brother's aircraft, he was using it before. He's only just taking over power. What is your view on that?
The whole thing is the whole thing is that I said these people have been beaten so badly that they've lost their senses. Because, like you said, Akufo-Addo used to use that thing before. Mahama uses it, it doesn't cost the state a penny. So it was Akufo-Addo who used to use our hard-earned foreign currency to go and
charter flights, $20,000
an hour and sit in, and some of them said that the plane hasn't got a bathroom in it, so he wants a shower out there. You know, sometimes you go and charter the thing and sit in there with Sewa Bruni. Sewa Bruni. Mahama never put any Sewa Bruni in it. Mahama was doing his work. So what nonsense are they talking about? If you are my brother, you know, and then you have a car, and then I left my car at home, can't I drive your car?
And you've
been
driving my car
already. And even you, the opposition, you used to drive the same car. So what nonsense are they talking about? The whole thing is they've lost their sense because we beat them so badly. Never in the annals of the Fourth Republic had anybody got less than 40%. They got 38%. And they will continue to get less.
Okay, and I'm putting on record that President Jerry John Rawlings, who was a revolutionary, brought sanity to Ghana. The man met nothing in the cafes of Ghana. And of course, we students of jurisprudence and academia, I'd like to put it on record, because sometimes we need to let the truth and facts prevail. Rawlings never met anything in the cafes of Ghana. And as a matter of fact, Ghana didn't even have a cheat to even import paracetamols. And that was on record. This man has been able to address the economic hardships, the breaking down of society, and was able to also unearth the deportation of Ghanaians from Nigerians, over 1 million people deported from Nigeria. And he really was able to unearth them into their families, including bringing them to the Elwak Stadium, and then getting this Fourth Republic going. And some Abu Jinapo, if he is the one who made that shouting against Rawlings, then that guy needs to go back to school. Because in this world, I can rhetorically say that an authority, before any nation does well without any broken society, sometimes have to go through revolutions. England went through a revolution, and that was the Civil War of 1642. And that is what empowered the English Parliament, which is the House of Commons, when Oliver Cromwell led it. Okay, the Americans did same, and Washington, Dems, and then including Abraham Lincoln, the Civil War, and so many other great nations. France went through the same thing in 1789. Russia went through the same thing in 1917. So no minister can misinform, miseducate, disinform any of the African anymore, because some of us are going to stand out and make sure facts and truth prevail. Now, I'm saying this, Doc,
Yes.
because the pronouncement or the shouting that came from the back to even insult Rawlings and call Rawlings a murderer in the House of Parliament, to the daughter, a medical doctor and a parliamentarian MP, daughter, Senator Rawlings, is uncalled for.
Completely uncalled for. Completely uncalled for. And you really did well. During the American War of 1776, when the Americans fought the British and overthrew them, during the French Revolution 1789, like you rightly said, when Louis XIV was guillotined, and
the Russian one, and
all of them, nobody has ever called the revolutionaries murderers. Now, the Rawlings era, I was there. I was at the military academy. I was a cadet in 1979. I was there 2 weeks when Rawlings had the first
15th May.
15th May.
Yeah.
You know, and then the revolution came on June 4th. You know, Rawlings came, did the revolution when he was released by Bochijan and Co. When he
that Bochijan name you mentioned, I think is a bit of a contention, because a lot of people are saying
we'll come to that later.
He never really played a role.
Yeah, we'll come
but
to
that's
that
another
later.
story.
We'll come to that
and you
later.
were in the military, so you give us a better background.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
We'll come to that later.
Yes.
But the thing is, when Rawlings came to address us as cadets those days in 1979, you know, within the first week of his revolution, his hand was heavily bandaged.
Yeah.
You know, they used pincers to pull his nails, and so he himself nearly died. Wow. In that revolution. Yeah. So he could never be a murderer if people lost their lives during the revolution. But let me tell you the crux of this. One day, when I was at the day that Achampong and Co were fired at the Teshuren, I remember we went for morning road run. You know, at the military academy, 4 a.m. you're on the road running. So 5 a.m. we were coming back to barracks, and we saw these vehicles that brought those people who were shot. You know, as far as what I know on that day and other subsequent days was that Rawlings was trying to prevent the other ranks from killing these people, carrying out those shootings, you know, or executions at the range. But the other ranks were so furious, you know, and they were telling him that if he didn't leave us, he himself would be shot.
They will kill him,
They will kill him himself. So he had nothing to do but to stand back. So Rawlings didn't propagate or
promote
the killing of those people. He was trying to prevent them. Okay, so all these people who are saying all this nonsense in Parliament, they are so ignorant. They should ask some of us for the real thing that happened.
But thank God we have such a platform and a channel. We will do the needed and sanitize unfortunate misinformation, disinformation, and things like that. So we are grateful. We will always batter those negative and ill thoughts, infos that they trickle down these social media handles. Okay, so we are hoping that that particular MP, and it was a sitting
even
MP
if that was to be true, it was so dishonorable for the person to speak that on the floor of Parliament.
When his own
seriously dishonorable,
his own
to a colleague,
no, and your own leadership was on the floor.
It's wrong. Yesterday I was listening to Honorable Sam George when he was speaking to Lawrence Ayenini on the Saturday program in Accra, and that question was put to him, you know, and he was telling Ayenini was asking him, how do we identify the guy? Because you can look on the television pictures and only the voice was coming through. But Sam George was saying, in addition to the television cameras, we have CCTVs in there. So CCTV will be able to pinpoint the one who was it. So they should do the needful, and then
I think they've even kept
everybody will have. They've given two. They should have brought that name to the surface by now.
And it will serve as a deterrent to any unruly behavior. Yes. Okay, so that's an interesting take.
Yes.
And I tell you, this development is
Yes.
just interesting.
Yes.
Probably, is the opposition assimilating still? Or they can't just take a humble pie? And so that's interesting. They need to learn and comport themselves because Ghana must move forward.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so let's look at the great ministerial positions. The people President Mahama wants to work with.
Yes.
He says he's going to cut down size of
Yes.
government and
Yes.
all that to 60.
Yes, to 60.
And all that.
Yes.
Your view, can that run the economy and the arms of governance? We have the legislature, then we have the judiciary
And the executive.
the executive. Can that run the executive to the maximum?
They can. They can.
How can they do it if Akufo-Addo had over 100, people?
Over 123 people and all
That's
the
a
rest.
lot. Oh,
yes,
my God.
but the whole thing is, Akufo-Addo's case was much ado about nothing.
Okay.
The people were doing nothing in there. Really, if you looked at the people who Akufo-Addo has, President Mahama has carefully appointed,
Yeah.
most of them are in their youth.
Yes.
And they are full of youthful
Energy.
exuberance,
Yes.
youthful energy,
Yes.
and they are very, very sharp intellectuals as well.
That's right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I know a lot of them because they are my colleagues in the NDC.
Yeah.
And I have no doubt that these guys will not disappoint the president,
Right.
And then he said, President Mahama also said that he wasn't going to give or appoint deputies to all, and he went by his word.
Yeah.
He appointed deputies, a limited number of deputies to some of the ministries where he said that, the work might be too much for one person.
Yeah.
That is thinking, that is reasoning. Unlike the appointment to friends, families, and it was wrong. Ghana really suffered the last 8 years. It was wrong.
Okay.
And like I said from the beginning of this program, it was only God Almighty who came to the rescue of Mother Ghana.
Okay, so with the Lane government, expert economics, Dr. Lawrence AKWETEY believes that with the 60 ministerial positions and limited deputies, Mahama can pull through and also save the country lots of money.
Lots of money.
So this is what we call
lots of unnecessary
protecting
money. Yes.
the purse.
You can protecting the purse. You
Yes.
can see that Mahama is the type of person who has Ghana at heart.
Yes.
Just yesterday or 2 days ago, I read on social media. I said no minister should fly first class on official business,
Yeah.
which is excellent. And he's not the first to do that. Bukinebe has done that already. Yeah, the Bukinebe leader.
So why can't some, not all,
Yes.
majority of the country is behind the president?
Yes.
We know that.
Yes.
That's why he got it
Yes.
2/3. So the
Yes.
mandate is there.
Yes.
So why is it that these micro thinkers
Yes.
not rather support the reset? Like you said, they still be hallucinating.
They are
because
hallucinating.
the uppercut blow, probably they haven't recovered. Normally when you get some of these uppercuts,
You get dazed.
and you have
Yes.
to be stressed out
Yes.
from the
Yes.
boxing ring and take it to the hospital.
Yeah, the whole thing is the MPP and their cohorts have been dazed on the 7th of December.
Probably they haven't recovered.
They
yet.
were really dazed.
Still
And
in oxygen.
yes.
Yeah.
And they still want to struggle and show themselves that they are in opposition.
Yeah.
They are in a formidable opposition who can
Yes.
give problems to the government. And the problem is they are always hitting the wrong notes on the piano.
Can you imagine?
The wrong notes on the piano. And
Yes.
they better go back and recalculate themselves and come back.
Yes.
Because some of their own members are now blaming themselves for
Yes.
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 And I told you from the beginning when I spoke to you on radio before.
Yeah, you did.
The first time I was in Ghana and I saw the first poster of Dr. Baumia.
Yeah.
And I read the words, "It is possible." I saw that was a defeatist statement.
Yes, it wasn't powerful.
It was an
Yeah.
assertive
We both
statement.
agreed on
Yes.
that. I said,
It is possible. It means you are not
you've
sure of
already
yourself.
given up.
Yes, because your background or what you have done, the
Yes.
history of your reign was not
Yes,
good.
yes.
So you are not sure. So it is possible. Why don't you say, "Oh, I can do it"? Because you know you are not standing on solid ground.
Yes.
You are standing on sinking sand.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so at least we've looked from the the pre-elections, we've looked at the elections, we've looked at the post-elections, we've looked at some of the interesting topics. Now we'll be looking at the economy itself. But like I said, we want to make this thing very exciting for you. And so, Doc,
yes,
we need the economic and political stability.
Yes.
And you said earlier, President believes in manufacturing
for export. Yes,
for export. Yes, and you said that is your field.
Yes,
I'm glad I have you here.
Yes.
Now you've been there.
Yes.
You were once also an army officer as well.
A naval officer.
Yeah, but you're still in the army though.
No, army is different.
Yeah?
Yeah, there are three arms: Army, Air Force, Navy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Okay, military is.
Oh, the armed forces.
Armed forces. Okay, let me get it right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the armed forces, but the naval officer.
Yes.
Right. So your wealth of experience is just amazing.
Yes.
Now, also the academic side
Yes.
and the intellectual side.
Yes.
What has been wrong with us with this democracy? There was a time I believe, should we continue with the democracy, or should we rather have a one-party state, or should we rather have a military state so that we can push through things? Because it seems the democracy, one of the things, I will be coming to the economics, but I wanted to make this point. One of the things that sets us back is that people run to the courts, people delay things, and they abuse the system. You know?
Yes.
What can we do so that these bureaucratic, legal, judiciary things will, you know, so that we can move the country forward fast?
Yes. It's a good question, but let me start from this one. You know, in this country, in the UK, the Prime Minister cannot do anything on the big, that concerns the nation big, without passing it through Parliament.
Right.
Parliament has to ratify it. They should debate it before. What made the democracy fail for the last 8 years under Akufo-Addo and Bawumia was they were not respecting the three arms of government. You know, they thought they were above all of them. And also they had some favorites. They appointed their favorites to the Supreme Court, you know. And all those people, instead of doing their judicial services with honesty, you know, I mean, because he sent them there, sometimes they cannot raise a finger and say, sir, what you are doing is wrong. You know, and it's not their fault, you know. But some of them did.
Yeah.
Some of them, not all of them. Okay? Now, for example, Akufo-Addo and co will just take a decision that should go through Parliament normally, and then just execute it. And when somebody raises a finger, he said, "Don't mind him."
Example is the Bank of Ghana.
Yes, printing of money. Yes, you cannot print money on your own accord without passing through a process. You know, which was completely wrong. Governor Addison did wrong, and they should all come to oral and tell us why. Okay.
Yeah. So
and so many other things that they did without duly passing through Parliament.
Yeah, and also one of the things that I've observed, all this is to support the reset, rebuild Ghana, and those of us who are the floating voters with a Pan-Africanist passion should support good causes.
Oh yes.
And this President Mahama is worthy of supporting.
Yes.
That's why we are lending our support.
Yes.
And of course, if there is a need to criticize something so that they will stand steady and shape themselves, we will do that.
Yes.
But we will not stand and allow evil traitors, saboteurs to derail the nation anymore.
I agree with you totally, 100%.
Yes. So,
if you notice, before you go, if you notice, and if you watch President Mahama carefully, from my little corner I watch him. He does a lot of consultations before doing things.
It's true.
Even his secretary, not secretary, his personal assistant, Joyce Bauer. By the way, Bauer, Joyce, I met her here with President Mahama in Oxford. And I told Joyce, I like the way you write your English. She writes excellent English. Very good English.
I also met her when she came to... I saw you there.
When
they came to Tottenham.
I was there. Yeah, I saw
Tottenham,
you. I saw you.
The place.
Yes, yes. Bauer said, Joyce Bauer said, even the dress that he wants to wear to an occasion, he consulted with her, or he normally consults with her and said, oh, do you think this one will be fine? This one will be fine. Even the dress he wore on the inauguration day, he did a lot of consultation.
Before he left office.
Yes.
Through the lies of these same scavengers.
Yes.
They came to power, all the lies. He has a mansion in Dubai, did all that. But the point I want to make is that we had an economic team that was formed for government, for Ghana.
Yes.
And it was being led by, I think, one doctor or professor. And that economic
management team.
That economic management team was supposed to have finalized, was a consultative staff made of so many different people from all parties.
Yes.
And as soon as Akufo-Addo came, they just disbanded.
Look at that.
So I remember vividly, and I can see I started saying, forming that economic thing. And I think we need to support this man, instead of the evil thoughts and trying to get him to fail, and yet the man is pushing out positive signals. Is worthy of supporting, and that is where I think we should stand. But if there's any criticism, it should be constructive criticism.
Thank you.
So, like I said, we'll be looking at the politics, the economy itself, which drives the nation. But we are out of time, so we'll be continuing part 2. Let me give the last word to Dr. AKWETEY before we round up.
Oh, okay. Now, you just mentioned the economy. And what builds a country's economy is manufacturing. I'll make a point just before you go.
But we'll be having a segment on economy.
Yeah, I know.
So don't go too deep.
Okay.
Let's whet their appetite. So whet their appetite.
Yes. What it is those days you see the Daily Graphic producing a picture of a Nissan van, and then President Akufo-Addo, some white Lebanese or whatever, Indian or something, and some Minister of Trade with a car key saying, oh, they've started assembling cars in Ghana. Up till now, they've never produced a quarterly report of how many cars have ever been produced in Ghana. Nothing. It's just a propaganda picture to tell us that we are assembling cars in Ghana. So, we'll revisit it in a minute.
So that was Dr. Lawrence AKWETEY's last words. This time is the resetting of Ghana's economy, and we are all going to do our best to support it with our constructive criticism as well and observations. My name is Nana Obagyefo. Stay blessed.
Tina, Lusa Polayo, Osisi Gele.